SEAA Trust India welcomes one and all once again to the second day of the second virtual 3-day 14th International Accreditation Conference 2021. It is a pleasure and honor to have you all in the virtual gathering of a number of our participants here today, speakers and presenters. I would once again take pride in mentioning that SEAA Trust, which has been at the forefront of efforts to propagate quality improvement through self-regulation of business school education with accreditation, is in its 14th year. SEAA Trust, under the chairmanship of Mr. Totatri Raman, has been tirelessly bringing together the top-rated agencies of the world on our platform since 2008. We welcome you all once again for this 3-day virtual webinar and the second day today.
Thank you, Smita Madam, for a great invite, and thank you, Raman, for all that you are doing.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you very much, and welcome to all of you. We have the pleasure of once again meeting you on the second day of our 14th International Accreditation Conference, and we are grateful to our academic partner who has been with us for more than a decade, Peregrine Global. And the conference sponsors this year has been consistently, ACBSP has been there. AMBA is coming this year to support us, and IBA, of course, has been our partner for more than a decade for producing our books, which is the handbook and the journal and so on. Yes, and we are also grateful for the fact that we are a member of the Global Compact Network of United Nations, which is pushing for the Sustainable Development Goals. We have been active in this sphere as well for the last 3 years or so. We also are handling this organization called IAABS, which is for the PGD in Business School, Indian Association of Autonomous Business School. We have the support of this organization as well. And of course, the last one, you have to walk the talk. So we have cycletofuture.com. I mean, you can very well go to that website and see for yourself what happens there. So thank you very much on this aspect. And let's get on to the day's program. We have, the day actually starts with my introduction, a very brief introduction of what this theme is all about. And after which we are going to really get on to the panel, which is the theme panel. And after that, of course, it is going to be led by Professor Xavier, a very veteran business school academic, and also a technology expert. So I've always admired him for his knowledge in technology, and he's the CTO, Chief Technology Officer of Laila Institute of Business Administration, Chennai. And we have Dr. Manish Jain, who's the founder and CEO of the IDA Business Academy, Bangalore, and Dr. Parasuraman, who's the director of SDMIMB, and we have Biju Pillai, who is our good friend, and he's one of those thinkers who has been on this IT map for a long, long time, and he's from the Balaji University, where he has implemented the IT. And of course, my mentor, my personal friend, B.V. Krishnamurthy, also a very, very good expert in terms of the information technology, and also a very, very renowned academic who has been with the Peregrine Academics as a knowledge head of knowledge development there. And of course, my friend Doug Gilbert, who has been an accreditation expert, and he has imparted a lot of knowledge to us in our own way of doing things, and many of the Indian business schools have benefited from his wisdom. And my friend Biswajit Patnaik of ASBM University is the next speaker. Unfortunately, he says that he will not be able to be present in this particular meeting. He just messaged me just a few minutes back. And Dr. Tapan Panda is the other gentleman who's the director at NMIMS Hyderabad. Once again, he is also an information technology expert. The idea of this panel is basically, and of course, we have Rajesh Kajuria, who's the founder of IAC. Now, this panel basically is about people who have been hands-on involved in infusing the technology content in MBA, which obviously is coming from the information technology field. And they definitely know what the opportunities are and what could be the hurdles. In fact, I would rather say that they know more about the hurdles than even about the opportunities. Of course, the opportunity is the reason why they are in it at all. And the reason why we chose this particular theme as part of our conference this year is basically because this is the challenge, the real challenge of MBA today. The MBA has been around for more than 100 years in the Harvard Kellogg model that has been there. But then of late, there is a huge amount of pressure for introducing technology in MBA education. But the MBA education technology infusion actually started very seriously because of the COVID, very unfortunate event that happened. And we are treating now that particular thing as a medical emergency that happened for a period of time. But personally speaking, I would say that it was a great opportunity for us also to experiment with all the new technologies. Industries have gone ahead with whatever experimentation that they have done. And then I think it's completely gone technical in that sense of the term, but the campuses are still catching up in spite of the fact that we have used a lot of technology tools. This is something that we have seen. Of course, there is a rush and there is a desperation almost to say that we'll go back to our normal kind of in-person classroom. But then in-person classroom may not last for a long time. It could be hybrid for quite some time to come, and after which I think it's going to be completely online. So this is where I think the root of the future of MBA education is going to happen. Of course, you are all experts. You're going to hear the experts, and they are going to say what I kind of hinting at, but they are the experts. So I'm also very keen and willing to listen to what they have to say. We're very excited about today's program. And after which I have the presentation of Amba here. And this is, again, the tradition that we have followed for more than a decade, that every year we have brought the updated accreditation principles, standards, and research, or whatever else the accreditation agency have done. We have updated our people on this aspect, and both in our website as well as in our conferences, we always have presented the updated information on the AMBA accreditation. We are thankful to you, Mark, for your own help and your own support to our work for the last decade or more in our own quest for bringing the international accreditation awareness to this country in our own small way. And after Mark, of course, my good friend Steve is going to come. He's one of those great lovers of India, and then he always starts saying Namaste. It's an amazing way that he greets Indians wherever he sees them. So Dr. Pascal is the Chief Accreditation Officer of ACBSP, and he's going to present the updated information and knowledge about ACBSP, what they've been doing. So this is will be followed by the new service we have introduced called SEAA Future Plus Talks, which is going to be there throughout the year. And many of you may get an opportunity to come back to this platform to give your views anytime during the year. So I invite, in fact, all of you to join this platform. And William Bill Parrott is going to, he's a higher education quality consultant. He has got more than 2 decades of experience in international accreditation arena. First, he was with IAC, and after which he has been with the Peregrine Global. And right now he's on his own. He's an independent consultant and in higher education area. Yes, we welcome him. And finally, of course, your feedback definitely matters to us. And we are requesting you to give the feedback on the conference, what we can do ahead of us, plus your feedback on this Future Plus talks series, and your own participation, consent for participation is also expected from this meeting. And with this, I have the greatest pleasure of inviting the panel chairman, Professor Xavier. Are you around, Professor Xavier? Yeah. Professor Xavier, it's up to you now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
You are.
All right. Good evening. Good evening. Thanks, Mr. Totatri Raman, and you have been doing a wonderful service. Nothing else. You have been bringing the friends back together. At least once a year, we get to meet in your platform. That's so nice. Of course, you mentioned that MBA has imbibed a lot of technology. Let's see at the end of the discussion, where we are. But my just initial observation, just to provoke, is that you cannot fight the 21st century wars with 18th century weapons. You see, in the 18th century, if you had the baton tanks, and then if the tanks moved and the soldiers moved behind, you could win a war. Then Second World War, you already had this aerial power, and then that made a big difference. And then, of course, you saw in the Gulf War use of missiles and anti-missiles. Now, of course, the whole world is, at least the developed world, is working on AI-based, equipment, weapons. So there are miniaturized drones which could sense and then go and kill whoever you decide to target. So you can send them in swarms and then kill the entire set of men in a area, or kill the women, or kill the entire human beings in that area. You can target the leaders in the area, and the way the weapons have advanced is unbelievable. Simultaneously, there's also a lot of robotic things are happening. I mean, you must be wondering, whether it is a session on MBA education or on war. But just to say that, where are we as, MBA educationists? Are we in that kind of baton tanks, or are we into that aerial power, or are we getting into, your missiles and anti-missiles, or are we, up with AI-based, drones and equipment? So we have to figure out, where we are. So from a industry point of view, basically, that it has changed a lot. It is in terms of people are looking at just in time, customized, personalized products and services. And where are we in terms of education, in terms of management education? Are we really offering customized, just in time, personalized education? And to what extent we have moved into that? Of course, we have adapted some amount of IT into the management curriculum. Where is the industry? Where are we? Are we ready for the future? So in order to discuss that, we have great experts, all good friends who are here. So what we'll do is, I think, each one of us will take about maximum 5 minutes. I would obviously alert, once you reach about 4 minutes, so that you can wind up quickly. And afterwards, we'll go for a discussion among ourselves, and also invite questions and then try to answer that. All right. Let me first invite, let me go by the same order, right? So Dr. Manish Jain, is the founder. Yes, sir. Should I go like that? Yeah.
Professor Xavier, if you, I think Manish has personally requested me that he can possibly come up third or fourth. So if you can.
Okay. So
Dr.
Dr. Parshuraman, would you like to go first? You have the first word, sir. Okay.
It's a big privilege you are giving me, Dr. Xavier, to go first in this very, very elite panel.
No, no, you have all the
but anyway, I'll try my best. Just give you some of the views about the complete inculcation of technology into our MBA program or PGTM program, as the case may be. First of all, let me tell you, one of the things that has happened when you discuss about NEP or you discuss about social responsibility, sustainability, anything, somehow the world seems to believe that the responsibility is very heavily on management education more than any other education, which I don't fully agree with. Because by the time students come for the management education, they are adults and they have already completed so many years and they are well conditioned, if you like. So there's only a little that we can do for actually grooming them and making them a whole personality. So the whole talk about inculcating everything into a management program and making it rounded seems to be a little bit exaggerated as far as I'm concerned. Now, coming to the actual curriculum and what we try to do, or any institute for that matter tries to do all over the world, is that we all realize that, as Dr. Xavier was beautifully putting it, technology is going at such a big pace that we all realize that we need to catch up. There's no doubt about that. But also, if you just take ourselves back some few years, about 20 years back or something, when PCs were just coming and emails were just being discussed and things like that, there were lots of people, lots of professors and faculty who were not savvy at all about computers, and they insisted on still having the overhead slides and projectors and all that. So the change would also need to come to the faculty as well in terms of attitude more than the orientation. That I'll come to a little later. But more than that, everybody realizes, or unanimously everybody agrees, that the basics of information technology, for that matter, or any technology, all the jargon, basic jargon, and all the usages should be known to students in management programs. True. And that, I think, most institutes are doing in the first year, maybe even in the first term. They call it information technology for management. We call it like that. And then all the jargon, including whatever new things have come about artificial intelligence, machine learning, design thinking, all those things have been all just introduced without any great depth. Now, the second aspect is, in the second year or in subsequent terms, how much deep depth should we have for technology? First of all, there's an obvious thing that all of us should do that is, I think, already happening. It is that our pedagogy should have technology, in the sense that we should use the website as much as possible in class. We should also be using spreadsheets in quantitative techniques and finance courses. We should also be having web-based interaction, videos, etc. All those things are taken for granted. But the next thing is, how much more do we teach them about the emerging topics? The emerging topics in the sense that they are changing so fast these days that when we talk about business intelligence, business analytics, and all the things very briefly touched upon by Dr. Xavier, all those things are the things that actually are going to be crucial for the corporate decision making in the years to come. But there, one big challenge is the students also need to have a background. Yeah, the students need to have a background about information technology. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult for them to complete all this in about a short period of time. But the greater challenge, in my opinion, is the faculty. Where is the faculty wherewithal to do all this? So we're going to borrow from the industry. We're going to ask industry experts to come down and teach for something, but that's heavily based upon the current practical situation without actually going into the theory of it. So there will be no standard textbook, there will be no standard sort of sequence of learning, etc. So all these are.
So 1 more minute, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure. And so that is actually the problem that is going to come. So I'm just not discussing the problem. I'm just saying that there's too much of responsibility that seems to be thrust upon management education for this purpose.
Excellent, sir. I think, what you are saying is there is a lot of responsibility that lies on the shoulders of the faculty. Faculty attitude is going to be a problem. And of course, expecting management education alone to shoulder everything is little unfair. Sounds fine. Let's move on to whom do we call next? Okay, Mr. Dr. Bijuji Pillai, Director, IT and Dean, Faculty of Management, Sri Balaji University. Mr. Pillai?
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, sir. Yeah.
Sir, the points which Dr. Parashuraman sir just now explained, I fully agree with you. And in fact, the attitude of the faculty, which he was mentioning about adapting the new technology, what I want to say is during this pandemic period, some of the great challenges which we have experienced and how we just overcome that thing, basically in the area of technology, I would like to highlight in another 5 minutes time. See, sir, when this on around 15th of 2019, March, we have declared a 10 days holiday to our students, anticipating all these problems. Suddenly on 25th, there was an indefinite lockdown has been declared. We thought it will be for a temporary phenomena, maybe for a month's time, we would be able to renew the activities. But then slowly it became 1 month, 2 months, just going indefinite period of time. So what I want to say here is, we were having all the technology implemented in place, but we were not at all using those things. As far as the pedagogy is concerned, teaching area is concerned, it was always a physical one-to-one or maybe a physical lectures. It was never been online. Online concept was absolutely not at all familiar to us. Even the meetings, we never do it online. So it was a necessity, and slowly we moved to Microsoft Teams, which was there with us for the last 15 years, but we were not using. Then the biggest challenge we faced was how to conduct the examination of the passing out batch, and they have to conduct the exam on the month of April. And we used again Microsoft Team only. We did our examination process. We conducted the Viva-based examination, and the batch has passed out. That has given us a lot of confidence. But now the problem was, by the time I was having only 50% of my admission done. So 50% of my admission was still in progress. And we do not know how to do that thing. Normally, we go to various places and we conduct our selection process all across the country. People come from all over India. But then we devised, there was no such tools available with us, but we, the faculties, and my students were sitting in different part of the country. My aspirants were also in different part of the country. There was a technical team. We used Microsoft Team very efficiently, and we did all the process the way we used to do. Otherwise, we did it in all the process online. Now, next challenge was how to conduct the classes. Hello?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Yeah, please.
Challenge was how to conduct the classes. And the classes also we conducted online, but then almost 6 to 7 hours lectures used to be conducted on a daily basis. The biggest complaint which was coming from the students were they were not having sufficient data backup. They were from different parts, as I mentioned, coming from different part of the country. So we had signed an agreement with Airtel, and we have given a dongle to all the 2,000 students. With a 200 GB backup, we have given a monthly backup. We have given to unlimited usage in a day, up to 500 GB for 3 months. Likewise, we sent to all the students for an yearly basis. That was one of the challenges we faced, and we could rectify that issue. Now, coming back to the technology part in the education, in our institute, what we did was, I must tell you that the latest technology like machine learning or artificial intelligence, this kind of thing, including that into the syllabus, that too again by a remote mode, was a difficult task for us. So we have signed up an agreement with Coursera, and we have mapped few courses to the MBA curriculum. For example, every semester we will be mapping around four subjects. Whereas if you look at Coursera, Coursera has got 4,200 different courses. Now my students have a liberty to go and join any courses apart from the compulsory courses which we have mentioned. So that courses we made it as a part of their internal evaluation. So if you clear that, then only you will get your internal marks. The class also will be provided. Here the advantage for me was the Coursera was helping me in a great extent. My students were globally.
Sir, yeah, you are 4 minutes up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So
Right.
that was one of the advantage of this thing. And today we have hybrid classes. We are no more conducting any online class or offline classes. The classes which we are conducting on a real-time basis is streamed. And recently we have signed an agreement with the TCS to conduct our examination in a proctored manner. That's all from my side, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I think, you did talk about the practical difficulties. Technology was there, but then people were not using it. And then how do we adapt? I think, again, it boils down to, faculty, our attitudes, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Thank you very much. And let me call upon Dr. B.V. Krishnamurthy, Advisor Peregrine, to share his views on that subject. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hi, sir. How are you?
So, at the beginning of the pandemic, we also started with the usual tools, MS Teams, and the platform that we are right now using for this conference. But very soon we found out that these were not sufficient. And therefore, the biggest learning for everyone in the ecosystem has been a migration to a full-fledged learning management system. It was a challenge as well as a great opportunity because yesterday Ms. Sandhya Krishnan was mentioning that we should stop being sages on the stage. We discovered this at the beginning of the pandemic, that peer learning was more powerful than any other type of learning. And this LMS helped us to achieve that. So we could make discussion groups, virtual discussion groups, and most of the reading was given to the students prior to the virtual classes themselves. And then there were breakout sessions and they would discuss and come back, and all in all, it has been a very fascinating experience. Added to that, the use of technology, we have experimented with augmented reality as well as virtual reality, because these are now available in an affordable manner, even in a country like India. AR tools are there, and virtual reality sets are also available at a very affordable price point. And there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of tools that are readily available, which can be deployed, which can make the experience very immersive. So the biggest challenge to, in my humble view, is student engagement, which can never be the same as in a physical space. So how to engage students, how to give them the experience of being in a live classroom, and that has been accomplished through AR and VR. The assessment part, again, through third-party sources and integrated with our learning management system, has made it seamless. Proctorless assessment has been possible. And irrespective of where the learners may be, it has been very successful. But I want to wind up on something which is not so technology oriented. One of the things that came up again during my friend Gunther's presentation yesterday was how we are not equipping our learners sufficiently in the higher levels of cognition. So along with Professors Avinash Dikshit and Barry Nedboth, the pioneers of game theory, we have developed some 40 different modules of game theory that can be used in all the functional areas of business. After all, learners ultimately have to make decisions on a day-to-day basis, and what better way than to expose them to sequential, simultaneous, forward reasoning and backward reasoning games. And that's what we have done. And through these interventions, we have been able to use this as an opportunity. It is not a hurdle for us, in my view. And we have been able to have record enrollments in a pandemic year. So that is what I have to say and share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishnamurthy sir. I think your experience speaks. So it's not just a question of adapting technology to the existing system. So what sir is talking about is building a kind of a newer models which will make learning more immersive and make it more exciting, interesting. And how do we really do that? Technology is there. I mean, he did talk about that mentoring, proctoring and other systems inbuilt. So it is possible to create virtual discussion groups and simulate and not engage them in a kind of a lecture session for all the 8-9 hours. I think, thank you, sir. I think that was a wonderful insight that you have given us. Now, who is going to go next? Let me look up.
Doug, maybe.
Manish Jain would like to, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, coming now? Yeah, right, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I think we all are talking in same language and trying to address the issues what we all are facing in today's scenario. I think more of, instead of talking about infusing technology in MBA, we should also think whether students are mentally ready, both, in both ways, to adapt to these technologies. If you see their background, they have never, learned online. In bachelor degree courses in India, there are not many online courses, and most of us who are, good business schools look at students who go through a full-time bachelor degree program. Now, suddenly, if you start, tell them that from tomorrow, you have to start learning online. So not only faculty, but students all get, hit by use of technology. Now, some of the schools like us who were using, LMS, say Moodle, we tried adapting, and like Pillai sir said that it took a while for all of us to adapt to the technology change which happened. Now bandwidth was an issue. Not everyone at home has a laptop or a computer, so it took us time to courier the laptops. We all know that there was a supply chain hit from China, so laptops were not available in market, especially the ones which B schools buy, which are not very advanced. So it was quite chaotic in the beginning, and gradually I think we all tried balancing the whole scenario, and maybe reducing little bit of the standards at some places, increasing the standards, like in terms of we took 2-3 parallel lease lines, so that in case one goes down, what happens to the next. So that switchover was happening. If you see globally, lately, a lot of institutes across the world, students are looking at tech MBA programs. That also is a sign that the world is moving away from the normal MBA programs. Now, can we infuse technology in finance? Yes, because now the banks don't work in the normal traditional way, right? Now, can we do consulting online? Yes, we can do consulting online. Now, are the databases or the previous projects of the consultants which they have delivered are available in the database format so that they can access what previous consultants have done in the same area? Yes, we have. So similarly, can we do branding online? Yes, we can do branding online. Now, there are, if you see, people are reading very less of physical newspapers. So most of the branding is going online. Now the whole way of advertising has there is a dramatic shift. So yes, now we need to have technology infused in our MBA program. Now this is a new tech program what we are talking of. Maybe it has come earlier because of pandemic and we are all forced into it. We all have to get ourselves educated, and which was very slow process before. Now we were all pushed. Some of the old faculty who were not open to it, they were pushed into it, learning.
Dr. Manish, your 4 minutes up. Yeah.
My God. Okay. So
no, but it's interesting. You're making a lot of interesting points. Unfortunately, yeah.
So I think we have to look at from a positive perspective whatever has happened during the pandemic, not only from the negative side. I think that has given a good push for the future tech MBA programs. I certainly believe that you really cannot have MBA programs which can be delivered online, because MBA programs are where you discuss one-to-one, sit together, break your head. I have done a couple of senior leadership programs in IIM Ahmedabad, and we know till 5 o'clock in the morning we break our head on the cases, and 8 o'clock we are back in class at this age also. So yes, physical reach has to be there, physical classroom has to be there, but yes, somewhere we can have some lectures, some kind of libraries available online, but certainly moving in a positive direction. And I hope that soon the pandemic gets over and we are back to normal, because students, there is a data which is available that at school level, at all the levels, and students who have now come back to campus, we can see the learning, the quality of learning which happens online. However smart you are, however adaptive you are, you cannot learn the way you learn when one-to-one learning happens in the class. So we are doing a lot of now backcapping is going on. We are reteaching them what we have taught them online. So
great.
Yes, so I'm sure we all are facing the same issues. The students are finding it very difficult to crack placement interviews because now companies are coming physically. Last year was easier because they were also online, so they were hiring online. Now this year situation is not same. We have taught them online, but the interviews are happening physically. So they don't know how to behave physically when one-to-one you are talking. These 2 years are supposed to groom a student, change the whole lifestyle of a student, the way a student behaves.
Yes, yes.
So I think for this passing out batch, next 6 months are going to be pretty tough for us as well as for them.
Yeah.
So we have to infuse technology in a proper way, and it should be a right blend. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Brilliant analysis. In fact, you have done my job, because the topic is how do we infuse technology into MBA. But then we went more into the use of technology for delivery. So I think the industry is using a lot of technology, but then we seem to be still teaching in the old way. To give an example, statistics. So you have a statistics professor who comes and teaches the traditional way, right? So I said, you should not do that. In our institute, we have done away with all that. Straight away, we teach Python, and then they learn all the statistics using Python, right? So I think you have to change every aspect. Dr. Manish talked about how marketing has changed, how customer service has changed. I think, this is where, and then accommodating all of that. That's what Dr. Parsu was saying, that if all that you have to bring into the MBA program, how do you do that? You have to do technology, you have to do the basics. So he was lamenting on that kind of a confusion that was there. I think now the debate is picking up kind of, heat and speed. Let's listen to an international person, Dr. Doug Gilbert who is founder, Lone Tree Academics, Denver. Welcome, sir. Can we have your views quickly in 5 minutes? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Be happy to do that. And thank you all for the invitation. As always, this is a fantastic opportunity, and I learn a lot, even though I come from a different perspective. I'd like to take us, first of all, to a little understanding that we're coming up on the 75th birthday of the way the MBA is designed. And just think for a quick second about what that means. The MBA that we teach in most of our universities is a product of the 1950s, which came up with there were two reports, the Ford Foundation and the Carnegie Foundation, that essentially distilled down into four sets of disciplines: this administration, which we would now call strategy and a bunch of other things; personnel, which is the whole HR world; marketing and finance, which we know. And that started to get a little bit tattered and old already 20, 25 years ago. It was designed on a mechanistic view, and that was already starting not to work. But there was a convenient opportunity to extend the life of the product by putting it on what I call the finance steroid model. So we extended the MBA by infusing a bunch of finance into it. And that was really great. It helped enrollments. People got employment either in the financial services industry or in consulting. But we've got a new reality, and the pandemic has brought that home very hard. First of all, automation has reached the population of the MBA graduates. So people that go out into the field are now faced with the fact that their jobs are getting automated away. And we saw something yesterday on robotics and artificial intelligence, but we're only beginning to see the start of a major wave of dislocation of our MBA graduates. If I look across the board at MBA programs, they are trying to figure out how to teach entrepreneurship more than place people into large companies. And that's becoming probably the new growth engine of many MBAs. And remote learning is a reality. We've had years of change. We're now coming into our third year of the pandemic. We've probably had we would say three years of change in the first 36 months, but in the first 3 years of this pandemic, we were probably looking at a decade of change in a 3-year period. So it's really accelerated. Certificates, I track this as a trend, and certificates are on track to displace the undergraduate degree probably in the next 3 to 4 years in some markets. And they'll be coming for the MBA on the level of graduate education. And where I did my MBA at IMD in Switzerland, 95% of the cash flow is certificates, 5% is MBAs. And it's one of the most renowned MBAs in Europe. And technology has given us a lot of adaptations in terms of adaptive learning and other tools. So what's that mean for the MBA going forward? Well, I think we have to look at a different design of the MBA. The name is already problematic because business versus management. We have to think about, are we teaching people to go into business, or are we teaching them into a career of management? That's an issue. But we need to design the degree using ideas of building a social construction around a virtual and tech-enabled world. And of course, the approach I take to this is called CLASS. It's Curriculum, Learningscapes, Assessment, and the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. Curriculum needs to change to be not only learning about technology and infusing a lot of the new things that are happening with data analytics and AI and that, but also learning to work with technology. The Learningscapes are going to benefit from a new generation of tools. We're already seeing AI-empowered digital facilitation platforms such as HouseSpace that I work with. We have AI-empowered hardware for the faculty member. One university I work with actually helps set up a home recording booth for faculty members with some of this hardware, and it's some of the Norwegian companies like
Doug, you have 4 minutes up.
Okay,
sorry.
Adaptive learning, yep. And I think, yeah, going forward, we're going to have to design for a different world.
Okay, sorry. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Yeah. I know what you're saying makes a lot of sense because you have to look at the purpose for which MBA was created, and then the whole scenario has changed. So how do you reinvent MBA? So that infusion of finance served its purpose for a while, but will it last forever? So now the time has come where, for example, you need to rethink. So now from a technology perspective, how do you design a different kind of an MBA? I think, it's put in a lot of challenges. At the same time, you need to really instill that social sensitivity, and then you have to have the holistic, well-rounded people should come out of these MBA programs, not just the money-minded, narrow perspective, should be encouraged. I think it's pretty complex subject. If we really start getting into that, it's going to take the whole evening. But certainly, yes, I think we need to rethink MBA, and I think that's a lesson at which we'll stop. Let's see other experts, what do they have to say. So we still have Dr. Tapan, who's again a firebrand. Is he around?
Looks like he's not around.
Okay, Tapan escaped. Okay, so let's move to.
And then you have Rajesh Kadriya.
Yeah, Rajesh can start.
Okay, hi everyone, and I'm so glad to see so many friends, Parsuram, Xavier, Alima, and of course, so many, I'm not naming them because Xavier would cut my 30 seconds to do that.
Yeah, start.
Well, coming straight to the point, I can say that my background really helps me to understand the changes there are in not just in MBA, but in entire education system. Since I was born in Africa, raised in India, was a resident of London, worked with ACBSP on their board as a commissioner, and of course, I am a professor in Vietnam. So how the technology is being used, in next 4 minutes, if I just have to use the words and not sentences, then I'm thinking and then thinking with a diverse group of people to teach technology to school final students and prepare them for a great graduate career as well as an MBA career right after their 11th or 12th standard. So what are we thinking at this stage in terms of technology for teaching? So I'm just reading out some of those words that we are thinking to teach them: data warehousing, a multinational data, dimensional data model, schematics for the data models, data warehousing models, enterprise warehouse, data mart, virtual warehouse, the concept of hierarchies in data, and OLAP server, dimensional analysis, warehouse architecture, data pre-processing, ETL, extract, transfer, and load data is something which is a very fast upcoming thing. Of course, we all find it in the US and UK, but in some parts of Europe, but we don't find it in 90% of the nation's MBAs. So if we have to think of a global MBA, ETL is going to be kind of a key differentiator. And of course, then the ETL script comes, the abstraction layer comes, and so many things, the project trends and all. Also, we are thinking to teach them data mining, mining patterns, associations and correlations, clustering, classification, regression, time series, what if an exploratory analysis, descriptive analysis, all these things our PhDs learn to do their data analytics. And that's what I have seen in last decade. Many of the PhDs learning this, some of the MBAs learning this, but we are thinking to teach now the school findings, the predictive analysis, and of course the prescriptive analysis. Also the Power BI and all those stuff that related, we are working on doing this. Now, all my friends, whoever have spoken so far, have emphasized the challenges of technology and in learning. I believe the interest, the attitude to learn, the application. And these three things are so important for learning, teaching, technology. And there is no business. Xavier, there is no business. You call it transportation, you call it, of course, software apart, but you call any services, any manufacturing, any innovative thing, any technology, there is no, I came across, an IIT graduate who has developed a product which out of the burnt rice husk, the product can be used in manufacturing tires. And in future, you will see white tires and colored tires and not just black tires because that we see today. So there are so many things that are coming up. And as an advisor to India's largest bank for 38 years, I advise the bank on innovative projects. And this was just a recent one I advised. I mean, my advice.
Time issue, sir.
But the point is that unless we teach at least some of those technologies and some of those innovations, otherwise it would explain that why 50% of the institutions have 50% or less admissions. Now that's where they fail to produce relevant MBAs for the new businesses that are needed. And happy to interact with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
one
so
more
much.
friend, Bill Perron. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think, you are also resonating with what Doug was saying. I think Doug has a lot more to add to that. How do you, make it practical, right? But otherwise, also, I think there's a big disconnect. You see, what the world needs, and then where are we? What are we teaching? I mean, that's a basic issue. So whole world is moving towards high-tech model, high-tech production, high-tech engineering, but we are still actually in that old model of chalk and talk. So in terms of delivery, there is a problem. You need to redesign the entire curriculum. You have to think of actually the way you deliver it. Also, you have to reinvent. See, I think this is what is something that comes out of these discussions. Because you see, the industrial age model is basically assembly line model. So we take students at a particular point and then move them for 2-year period in the conveyor belt and then throw them out after 2 years. You see, that is how we look at MBA. But in information age model is very different. I think, this is where I think Doug was having a different approach. And then some of our teachers, Krishnamurthy, you mentioned in the last that basically you have to reinvent MBA, rethink MBA. So how do you rethink? So that is where your skills lie. And then one of the things he mentioned is that you have to build technology as a part of every course. If it's marketing, it is marketing technology that has to be part of it. Finance should have finance technology. HR should have HR analytics bundled into that. So there's you cannot say that I'm just an MBA, so I don't know any of these things. So you need to prepare yourself, for that kind of a new world. Are we ready with that? I think that's a question we have to ask. Any of the experiments you have done in your own institutions with this kind of approach, that will be nice. We could hear either from the panelists or from the audience, if you want to type in what you have done differently to rethink education. How do you really rethink education in this information age? It's not just about delivery. Delivery, everybody is talking about delivery. Yes, we all had our own problems with the delivery. We got accelerated because of the pandemic. Fine, we have got adapted. But what is important is, have we done anything new with our MBA? What is that new thing we have done? Can you add even Totatri sir? Yeah.
So Xavier, just one quick thing. Being Azim of Kettering University, he wants to say something.
Yeah,
to make a small presentation. Can I ask?
Please. Love to hear that. That's what I want. I mean, how do you do it? How is not there? All of us are talking. We need to be different. How are we going to be different? I think Hasib has a point. Let's hear that. You
Yeah,
want to
let
share
me,
a slide, right? Yeah.
let me bring a slide here. I am, yeah, I got it. So in continuation of what we are discussing here, I just want to show how we have redesigned the program, the MBA, and also the undergraduate. How did we integrate the emerging technology in the curriculum? I'm not touching the modality of delivering the program. So you can see that we have included the data analytics, supply chain management, different technology fields, and all the engineering fields, innovation and entrepreneurship, and sustainability management. Those are our degree programs. And as Doug has mentioned, and other speakers have alluded to it, that we have directly brought those courses within the curriculum. So you can see that in the undergraduate program and also the graduate program, whether it is MBA or tech MBA or engineering management or operations management, we teach the data analytics, data visualization, we teach digital strategy. The students have, they're taking those courses. In supply chain, we are teaching value creation in supply chain using technology, the tools that's available, the latest tools, and obviously the ERP. In technology leadership, they can take courses in advanced mobility, in autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, systems engineering, video gaming. All of these have been totally integrated into the curriculum. And we have broken the disciplinary boundaries that existed, as Doug and others have mentioned, in the industrial age. That has been totally broken. I mean, we have taken that apart, integrated all of those previously business discipline into a management program. So not only we're teaching the the traditional the business disciplines in accounting, finance, marketing, and strategy, but we have gone beyond that and directly incorporated all of these areas into the program in both undergraduate and graduate.
Yeah.
And you can see the model how we have developed it in the paper that we presented in the journal proceedings. And I'll be happy to answer any question about that.
Right, sir. I think that's the way to go, because there was a time when we, as Doug was saying, finance infusion happened. Then there was a time when globalization, every MBA program had internationalization built into all the courses. I think that happened somewhere around the 2000 or even early 1990s it happened. Then by 2000, IT infusion happened. So ERP, CRM, supply chain, all that got infused. I think now we are in a phase where we need to integrate analytics and AI and other kinds of things like that. So I think this is one good model, what Hasib has mentioned. We can look at many different approaches to, for example, infusing, how do you build analytics and AI into literally every course? The problem is when we add these things, we should also leave out certain things. See, for example, when you construct a building these days, you don't go and, take the mud and then start preparing, building the walls. You use bricks. From bricks, we have moved to prefabricated walls. From prefabricated walls, we have moved to 3D printing. The problem with this is that, we still keep that building the house using the mud, and still we try to teach, how to use a 3D printer to print a house. Students get loaded, they get confused, teachers don't understand. This is the problem. But the other problem is teachers still know how to make a house using only the mud. And you are introducing in the curriculum how to build a house using a 3D printer. Now, again, there is a mismatch. So they will continue to teach only what they know, but they will not teach what is really needed. So you need to retrain. The challenge is much, much bigger, you see. So I think, this is the lesson for this from this panel. If any of the panelists would like to add anything to this, I would be happy to listen to that. But someone's substance is this. We need to infuse these things into this, your analytics and AI models into virtually every course and discard a lot of old things. We are not teaching basic strategy. We are teaching Python programming. So we start with MATLAB, not teach mathematics. Your Fourier transformation or any of those things, in engineering, don't teach those mathematics. But straight away use MATLAB, show them problems, ask them to solve it. So you start using higher order tools and don't waste your energy in deriving that, that still making mud houses.
Yeah,
Professor,
Anand.
Yeah, who would like to add? Yes, sir. Rajesh, sir, you want to add? Yeah.
Yes, I just want to add, Xavier, you are dot on the point, and to improve the quality and relevance of MBA program. All business programs, we can say, undergrad, grad, whatever, relevance and quality and relevance. I think the way that MBA has been taught by universities and colleges have to change. Is the way that we have, I'm included, but in the past. So the way it has been taught has to change now. So how new MBA can be developed? For example, do not develop MBA only through professors, but have an industry partner or a few partners to deliver the tech content, the experience content, and make it 50-50. I mean, the minimum 50% should be practical, and therefore the evaluations. And those practicals are rarely mentioned in theories. You have to experience as a student, whatever. Yeah. So the third angle is build global or international content, because the way this world is integrating, it's going to be kind of a challenge for our current students to work even in, for example, a student in India, if he or she has to work in Vietnam, is very difficult. Number one is the language. And then number two is that the tools and the way they use, although it may be same, but they use it differently. So how do you do that? So building the internationalization in MBA through not just the 1 week, 2 week experience kind of, or an industrial or an international tool, but somehow integrating through professors, teaching from other countries and all.
Correct.
Those things are going to matter. So
yes,
the university, the industry, and the global contact.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah. It is not going to be possible for the traditional teachers to deliver this. So we need to collaborate, and it has to be a team teaching with industry experts, online, offline, that combination. So that NEP allows for that. So I think, we should take advantage of that. There's one question, maybe quickly we can take it up. This is about, I think, who is that? Anand Rai is asking, customized education. So I did talk about it in the beginning. But today, for example, if you are doing it online, then you can modularize, every subject, and then you have to use back-end AI engines, which will understand the aptitude and the capability of the individual student, and they will offer customized modules as required by individual students. So it is like the precision medicine that they are talking about. You see, so diabetics, instead of taking the standard medicine, nowadays they study your lifestyle, everything, and then they give you customized medicines and capsules for each of the individuals, depending on where you are. And same way, this education also is moving in that direction. There are AI models that have been developed already for this kind of customized, personalized delivery. So this is rethinking the way we deliver education itself, you know. So this is going to be the future. But to my knowledge, I know some people have developed it for this preparation for your UPSC exams, preparation for your CAT or your IAT entrance examinations, where it does this AI-based teaching. It coaches you and then makes you the best in that area. So future is going to be customized, personalized kind of learning models, right? That's another thing that is developing. We don't know what will become the standard. Over to you, Raman sir.
Sorry, Manish was raised his hand. So what is that Manish wants to say? Manish, do you have anything to say?
Some of the speakers spoke about AI, and then we were talking about design thinking. But I think, if we look at Southeast Asia, most of the students who join MBA program are freshers. Now, like we have around 23% students who have some kind of experience, which varies up to say 4 years. Now, beyond that, the rest of the class, which is say 77%, for them, understanding design thinking using AI is certainly a Herculean task, because they have to, somewhere have that, experience, work experience, so that they can think from that perspective or at that level, which unfortunately Southeast Asian countries still, have a challenge that a lot of freshers join MBA program. So we have that challenge also, how to implement these two tools.
No, sir, you are absolutely right, because I have taught in US, UK, all over the place, and it's a big challenge when you teach here. So we have to treat them like BBA students. Because this is when they are getting introduced to the basic concepts. The true MBA, that's how now the 1-year MBAs are picking up. MBAs after 5 years of work ex, they are coming for a 1-year MBA in the Southeast Asian countries. So it's you have to adapt to them. But the point about their ability to adapt, there's no problem. Technology, they are okay, because from school level they get adjusted to new technology, so they will learn. See, the problem is only between faculty and the students. The faculty, they don't understand the technology. The youngsters refuse to learn from them. See, I learn from my son, grandson, anybody. I have no qualms about it. See, once you have that attitude, then the whole world will be a better place. You have to learn technology from them, and then they have to learn the subjects from you. I think you have to have an understanding, collaborative learning. Then the world will be a better place. But if you think I know everything, you are in trouble.
Faculty resist change management,
Sir, that's the reason why we introduced the word called infusing. Not introducing. You said infusing. So you really have to do a lot of work to get people to understand that you have no choice, but you have to really get in there. Which means it's a question of cultural shift that's going to take place. Like you said, one generation here is actually down to about 8-9 years max. That student will require a completely different kind of faculty. So all the faculty who are not qualified, or they're not qualifying themselves, or they're not open to technology, they will have a big problem down the line. Say, it's not even a decade from today. Every student in the classroom is going to demand a very high-tech kind of inputs. So this is where we are prepared. This is my personal thing. I think we are running out on time. We are already past about 10 minutes. So Mark is waiting. So that's, I think we should conclude, sir, Professor.
Yeah, I think it was a wonderful time I had with the panelists. Each one of you, I think, brought in interesting points. You've been wonderful panelists and excellent questions from the audience also. Thanks to every one of you, and thanks to Mr. Raman for organizing this nice debate and discussion. Thank you very much. Thanks one and all.